Hello, everyone. And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming. You know, we're doing the screening of Anywhere USA, and then we're going to have some conversations. We're going to have a reading, and we're going to have some live music as well. And it all really, the thematic sort of through line of the evening has to do with the role that arts can play in affecting social change. So here tonight we have, you know, folks from my very different worlds, right? We have folks from the labor movement. Yeah, they're used to shouting out whenever you mention, yeah, exactly, woo, labor! So we have some of the labor folks here, and we have a few elected officials maybe stopping by after. And we have teachers, and we have artists, and we have grassroots activists. And my idea was to, you know, try to put together, and Paula Smale, is Paula here? Thank you so much, Paula. She helped me organize the evening. And the idea was to sort of bring together these different worlds and have a conversation about what role the arts can play in, you know, affecting social justice. You know, the different arts have different strengths, obviously, and we're going to talk about, you know, some of those tonight. So without further ado, here is the film. It's about 8 minutes long or so, and then we're going to have a conversation about it afterwards. So thank you so much.
You know you're an idiot, right?
Yeah, but at least I'm not ticklish.
You believe that?
She could have any boy she wants.
You know what this promotion means to me? You're kidding me. Look, do not tell me you gave it to the chink. Okay, fine. But remember this. A college degree never sold a car.
What are you doing?
I'm just...
You better unfriend her.
Oh.
I'm over it. I'm being serious.
It's not a thing.
Thank you for your service.
You bet.
Hey, do not tell your mother I kept you out this late.
Can I have another ice cream?
Oh, blackmail, is it? Where'd you learn that?
Around.
Smart guy.
Were you in country?
Yeah.
Did you get some?
Army.
What?
Get some. It's Marines. I'm Army.
Why doesn't he just go back to where he came from?
Michigan? Oh, wait, I get it. My mom sent you, right? She wants me to visit more often.
Wise ass.
Whoa.
What?
There was a bombing in San Francisco.
Did you say there was a bombing?
Yeah, on the Golden Gate Bridge. It was 33 dead, 56 injured.
Filthy Arabs.
We don't know it was Muslims.
Who else is it gonna be?
They want a holy war. I say we give it to them. All of them. Am I right? You gotta be kidding me.
What?
The bastard's laughing.
Gil?
You think it's funny? I was watching a YouTube video. Enough.
Oh my God!
Okay, please just put down the knife.
Do something!
We can rush him. Call the police.
I'm trying to.
Look, I sell cars for a living. If anyone can negotiate a deal, I can. Soldier, we got no problem with you. We just want to teach a kid a lesson. That's all.
You hear that?
Yeah. I'm sure they mean it.
It's working.
We're calling the police. But just think for a second. As of right now, nobody's broken any laws. We all just go our separate ways. It'd be like nothing ever happened.
Wait, so that's the deal? They get everything and we get nothing?
We all get to go home. It's a deal.
All right. I'm coming out.
Let's go.
Hey. Some kind of negotiator you turned out to be.
Come on, Sammy. Let's go.
if all of the blue skies turn to gray? Would you hang around or would you run away? 'Cause I'm only a child, but I've been through it all. And at some point, every child must learn to crawl. So who's gonna shelter me when the rains come? Who's gonna wrap their arms around me when I try to run? When I'm standing beneath a cloud of defeat, ready to give up now, who will shelter me?
I made this film, well, there were two reasons. One was to exercise, obviously, a lot of anger and frustration about what was going on in America today. And the second reason was to create conversations, to come up with an occasion for conversations. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. So we have Tomas Benitez. He's going to be speaking with me a little bit about the film and a little bit about his own work as well. Here's Tomas here. Yay. Hey, there we go. Tomas is chairman of the Board of Latino Arts Network and has been an advocate for Chicano and Latino arts and culture for 40 years. He has served on multiple boards, lectured extensively, and served as a consultant to organizations like the Smithsonian and the President's Council for the Arts. A writer of poems, stories, scripts, and novels. He lives with his cat Jinx, who thinks he's a dog. Okay, and do you have a microphone?
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Tomas, for
Well,
coming.
thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I enjoyed your work. Thank you. First and foremost, let's give him another hand for that night. I couldn't help but, sit there and go, oh, that guy. Yeah, I've seen him in that. Yeah. Oh, that guy, Stuart Hankin.
I was very proud of the cast, Callum is here tonight, I know, and then Juliet and Selah are here. Kendra, I think, is on her way. This was the first time that I had to come up with 11 actors, and any one of whom could have dropped the ball and destroyed the story. And I was very proud of their work. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
No, I think they did a wonderful job. I think that the story is rather poignant. In my life, I've spent most of my life in arts, and which means that most of my life I'm trying to figure out whether I'm going to pay the gas bill first, how late can I be on the rent. And something I learned is that most of us are good people. Most of us are like each other. We have our differences, but we are more alike than we are not. Most of us care about each other. Most of us do the right thing even when people aren't watching. Most of us. Now this was 30 years ago. And I had the usual stuff like, somebody down in, Alabama looking at me and going, "You're not from around here." And no, I'm not. Actually, I'm from East LA, California. And was that in Mexico? Yeah, that's up for debate, man. Couple blocks I know, yes. Not mean, ignorant, simply not, And that's kind of changed now because we've all had a chance to really learn from each other. I think that there is a difference in our country nowadays, and I worry about those people that I met in Omaha, Nebraska, and Billings, whether they would look at me the same way they did 30 years ago and be so warm and friendly. I worry about what has happened to our national dialogue. But I will still have faith in America that we are more alike. Most of us are good. Most of us care about each other. And we have got to figure out a way to get past the didactic.
This film started out, people talk about based on a true events or, inspired by, that kind of thing. This was inspired by a rumor. I don't know if you guys remember, but Trump on his campaign trail was talking about the folks in Jersey City and that there were Muslim Americans who were out there celebrating in the streets on 9/11, that there had been cooks in the VIP diner jumping up and down and celebrating, and that there had been some altercation with the patrons. But nobody could prove any of it. It was a rumor. And I still to this day have no idea if any of it's true. I know that Trump was lying when he said thousands of people in the streets, but were there 4 or 5 cooks? I have no idea. But when I approached the material, what interested me was not, the rumor itself sort of implied that they were guilty. And that didn't interest me. What interested me, because then the rumor becomes about them, and I was more interested in the patrons. So what I did is I made, first of all, I couldn't afford 5 or 6 cooks, right? So I had one guy, Jared, who's here. I put the focus on the audience. And one of the things I think art can do is, it can mirror reality and it can transform reality. And so now it's all about the response to that assumption that the character Gil makes when he looks at the kid, looking at a YouTube video. Because, he's clearly innocent in my version. So now it's all about how do we respond? How do we perceive reality through filters of hate and racism, and how does that sort of, and how does it pervert the child as well? So do you want to talk a little bit about some of the ways you think that the arts can mirror society and transform society?
Well, what the film makes quite poignantly in terms of a point is that we teach hate. If we can teach hate, we can teach love. If we can teach hate, we can teach tolerance. If we can teach fear, we can teach reaching into each other's hearts. And we do that best. We do that best with the best part of us, which is our creativity, through the arts.
We're in Los Angeles. This is the thing that we do. This is the entertainment capital of America. This is what we can contribute to the national discourse, right? We do it better than anybody.
And we have more of it, and we have more opportunity. I'm going to say that maybe there's one person in the room who might know something about the Thai culture, extensively, that could speak on Thai culture. There might be a Thai person in the room, there might be somebody who is an acolyte of Asian studies. But I can tell you this much, we've all had Thai food, haven't we? We have so much at our disposal right now. We have so much opportunity. My friend Sally, Dr. Sally Mencher, comes in from London, and it's her last day here before she goes back, and she goes, "Tomas, take me to your favorite place in Los Angeles." I said, "Absolutely, Sally," and we go to Cantor's Deli on Fairfax. This is my favorite place. Mexican food, I'm lousy with Mexican food, hell. I can go to my aunt's house if I want. Cantor's. That's like going to church. We have so much, and I mean, when you hear, Tomas was like, the designated Chicano, I was honored. I was privileged to go to Berlin, to Israel, to South Africa, to Scotland, and talk about Chicano art and culture, and to share that information. But it was in South Africa. I was just telling Paula this story where I'm at a reception for the art, and it's the first American art exhibit in the newly reorganized South Africa. And they love it. It's a suite of 50 Chicano prints from the place that I used to be executive director. It's called Self-Help Graphics in East LA. We had 50 pieces down there, and it's so humbling to be in South Africa with 50 pieces of our work. And a lad comes up to me and he says, "This is the best Yankee art I've ever seen." I said, "What do from Mr. Ray, man? Como que Yankee? Watchate, cabrón." You know what? He's absolutely freaking right. I am an American. I am an American. I am your son. This art is a unique perspective of an American experience. And I think that that's something that I learned. The best part about us, when we study history of people, when we look back and start looking at the ancient civilizations, where do we start? Art and architecture. We study with the best left expression of a community, a culture, a climate.
We were talking very briefly this past week, and what I was saying, what interests me is whenever because I've, advocated for social justice in most of the ways that you can. I've done my marching and, ledge visits with elected officials and, phone banking and the rest of it. But one of the things that I can bring to it that, not everybody in those various spheres can is that I'm an artist. I can do that. And when I mention that to people from those spheres, they often say to me, "Well, so you do documentaries?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't do documentaries." And it's very interesting to me that they would assume that something that's more literally true, I say more literally true, not literally true, because every documentary is, of course, sort of edited, but that they would assume that, that somehow is the way you would be an activist as opposed to dealing in metaphorical truth. Like I said, basing this story, which I tried to make powerful, based on a rumor. I didn't go and interview people at that diner, and I love some documentaries. In fact, I love many documentaries, but what I do is not that. What I do is I speak through the personal stories. That's how I can engage. You want to engage the head, but you also want to engage the heart and the gut, and it's interesting to me, that people would immediately assume, that you would be Michael Moore or you would be one of those folks, I like to access the political through the personal.
What was your motivation in having the kid hit the soldier?
Because one of the things, that's a good question. He asked, what was my motivation in having the kid hit the soldier? And my idea was, one of the things that film can do is it can, provide iconic imagery, right? Everybody knows the Willem Dafoe image from Platoon, right, with the two arms in the air. Yeah. Exactly, that's it. And in one image, Stone seemed to sum up the madness of the Vietnam War. Or if you think about Slim Pickens, say, riding the A-bomb down, right? I mean, in Dr. Strangelove, right? I mean, that gets at the machismo and the madness of the arms race. And so that's one of the things that film can do. It can, burn images into your consciousness. And so I was working on the iconic, archetypical sort of level there. You've got the, Callum, who's sitting over there. Callum is playing a little leaguer, right? I mean, there is no more American kid than a little league kid, right? In a little league uniform, right? He kind of looks like Dennis the Menace, right? And then you have a soldier. And the soldier is basically sort of Captain America. I mean, he behaves as I would hope I'd have the courage to behave in that situation. That was my perspective on that character. So now if you have a little league character with a baseball bat killing Captain America, and the kid has been sort of so twisted in terms of his education, he's been taking in the racism around him. He's got a father with flexible morals who praises him for blackmailing him. He hears his father talking about the chink. this is what we do to our kids. This is learned behavior. And so what I wanted to do is take this iconic image of the Little League kid and Captain America and, you know, bring them together and make us ask ourselves what everybody in that diner is asking themselves at the end of the story, which is, how did we get here? You know, it's incremental. You know, one misunderstanding turns into one threat, which turns into one, you know, sort of act of defense, which turns into a negotiation. And before you know it, we're in hell, and nobody remembers where the staircase was, you know? And that was kind of, that's where that came from, trying to deal in iconic imagery. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. So now we're going to do the reading of a brief essay, which speaks to some of the issues we've been talking about tonight. You know, this was done by Sean Patrick Hughes, and it's called In God's Country.
Larry Mullen's snare drum rips a hole in the darkness and silence with that iconic march. The unmistakable metallic, rattling scream of the edge crashes off the walls of the stadium and down over you, through you. Then above it all, the voice, that soulful Irish wail, falls down from the heavens like a war cry. They opened with Sunday, Bloody Sunday, a song about the condemnation of the violence and bloodshed in their homeland. And for 3 hours, 4 men who started a band the year before I was born in country, 5,000 miles away, are alone, together in front of 60,000 Americans, surrendering their art to us. It's more than just the music, though. It's a plea to whatever human parts are left of us to switch on, even for just a little, before we file back out into the lines and the traffic and the deader parts of life. It's a running scribe of poems, of peace and humanity and opportunity and equality and pain and suffering and human life. It's Naomi Shihab Nye's Kindness, scrolling up on an 80-foot screen.
Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
It's the politics of pictures of refugees and Americans of every color, sex, and age. The message is clear. We are the destination, America. We are the station at the end of 70,000 years of human journey. And there's a cost to closing the doors behind us when our train pulled in. I didn't come for the politics. I came because Joshua Tree was the first tape I ever bought with my own money. And when I had to go to my dad's on weekends, and I had to wait at the boathouse in Philly for his practice to end before I could go with him, I listened to it on loop, beginning to end, for hours. It was perfect. No song needed to be fast-forwarded. I knew every inch of it, every word, every ripping chord the edge hammered into me. When I went off to war, I played Bullet the Blue Sky to get my head in the right place before we went out the door when we went. That record has been with me as long as music has. When they came to my city, I went to see them. And when I left, my bucket list was one light. And my heart and my head were full of more than music. They were full of a reckoning. That where I've been and what I've seen and what I've done hasn't been without cost. Whatever your politics are, that message is an inescapable truth. And that's the point of art. Be wary of people who tell you that artists have no say in the material things of the world. They are the flesh and blood of our condition. They are here to remind us of the cost of our actions. They're the red side of the ledger, charged with the worthy task of bringing us something so beautiful that we can't ignore it. Something so human that it reminds us of what we are. Flesh, blood, pain, hunger, love, and kindness. We are sentient beings. We don't have to obey our artists. But when we stop listening to the humanity that comes with their art, we're something less. Thank you.
One of the questions that we have to ask ourselves is how can we do better? How can we educate our children well? So we're going to end with a song, and it's not a new song, it's not a new sentiment, but hopefully some of our conversations and some of our solutions will indeed be new. Thank you so much. Here we go.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, the father's help did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they fix, the one you'll know by. And don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. You of tender years can know the fears that your elders grew by. So please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before